So this is how I'm using open source intelligence to produce my show. Hopefully you got some tips that are applicable to what you do and how you find your guests. But there's a lot of tricks out there, okay? And we seriously just scratched the surface. My favorite books on this topic, two of them are from Michael Basil. He's a friend of mine. He's probably the authority on OSINT, law enforcement, and he worked at the FBI. He actually was a consultant on Mr. Robot, the show Mr. Robot. And this guy, I don't know what he looks like. I don't know where he is. I only speak to him through encrypted channels, and he's hardcore. But we did an investigation together where we went into the dark web and we found a bunch of breached databases. So what happens is, let's say, in this case it was a car dealership. Ransomware attacks, these hackers send ransomware to the car dealership. They're like, hey, we got your data. And if you want your data back, you're gonna have to pay us. Well, what happens is that the car insurance dealership doesn't pay them. And so what the hackers do is they dump all that data on the dark web. It's just a big data dump. And now all of that data is publicly available information. It is legal for us to access that information. And so I pulled up people's credit reports, like people trying to buy cars. I got their social security, their bank account number, their like credit history. Like, it was crazy. And I called the guy and I said, hey, I'm doing this story. I'm a journalist. Do you mind if I ask you a couple questions? And I said, is your social security XYZ? And he's like, yep. Is your date of birth this? Yep. And I'm like, dude, your information's out there. And so the reason why this is important is because as content creators, we have a lot of tools at our disposal. As individuals, there's a lot of your information out there, and you need to know what's out there in order to protect yourself. This is not to scare you, it's just so you can be smarter, right? Something I tell people all the time, and this is just use a password manager, freeze your credit. Like those are two things that you could do to protect yourself, okay, from bad guys. Because remember, I'm using this information as an investigative tool, but a bad actor could use this information to completely financially destroy you, okay? Or worse, right? And so another resource that Michelle Kahn, who's the white hat that I worked with, he's a great resource on this too. So if you're interested, I could point you in the right direction. But yeah, that's how to find people the most extreme way possible.